Welcome to the Hidden Bookcase. Come through and get cozy. Pick a book, your favourite book. That's the one that opens this room. Inside you'll find a warm fire, a loving cat, and a wide skylight to the stars.
And a dangerously high to-be-read pile.
I'm Morgan, I use they-them pronouns, and I'm 368 books fighting to death in the Trojan War.
I'm Soren, I use he-him pronouns, and I'm 86 books floating in a wizard's hut.
We've been friends for over a decade and are always swapping books.
Usually we recommend each other our favourite books and talk about them on this show. But today, join us for a chat beside the fire about our 2023 reads.
And our plans for 2024.
Okay, Morgan, the time has come. Explain yourself.
I feel like I'm in court.
This is an intervention.
People are lining up. Every person on TikTok who has ever been like, how do you read that much to anybody ever is lining up ready to fight me.
In fact, you know what? Okay, before we go on, can I quote you from last year?
Yeah.
Because I re-listened to our episode today.
Yeah.
And you called 2022 an unhinged year. And you said, this year, I'm not going to read 200 books, and I'm going to do my diss. In fairness to you, you did not read 200 books, and you did do your diss.
A fair amount of those books were for my diss, you know? And I got a first in my diss, so I was not neglecting my work. Was I neglecting my work? Yes. But I still got a first, so...
But it's fine, because you're just like a natural genius, as we all
this
know.
proves that actually I never need to do any work ever, because I can always do things the day before, and the 7,000 words I have due, in 6 days, I'm coming for them. But at what cost? So yes, everybody, Morgan read 368 books this year, which is more books than there are days in the year. Do I know how I did it? No. Does anybody know how I did it? No. My audiobook speed has gone from 2 to 2.5/3. I read the entirety of the Promised Neverland series, which is 20 manga. I read some short stories. I read some graphic novels. I did a lot of rereading.
Can I ask how many of them were graphic novels?
I read 48 graphic novels.
Oh, I read a lot of graphic novels as well in terms of proportion. Of the 86, I read 26 graphic novels. So that's like more than 1 in 4.
You know, I read the entirety of Promised Neverland. I read Die twice. It adds up.
To be fair, I only counted Die once, and I was thinking about this today. I was like, if I'd counted it as 4 separate books.
Ah, you should have counted it as 4 separate books.
I know, but I didn't want to meet my target just for the sake of meeting it, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, no.
And also, I was actually kind of thinking we have 2 perspectives now on the Hidden Bookcase. We have someone who didn't meet their target, because if anyone was wondering, my target was 90. And we have someone who hugely outstripped their target, which was Morgan. Because what was your target? I don't remember now.
It was 120 originally. And then I got to April, I want to say, and I'd already read 120 books. And I was like, I'll go for 300. I reread Silence of the Girls like 5 times. I reread the Iliad at least 3 times. I reread Song of Achilles about 4 times.
On that subject, can I ask who was your most read author?
Oh, my most read author is Rick Riordan, because I reread the entirety of the Riordan verse. My busiest month, it helps that I did not label these months. For the listener, I'm cross-referencing my bullet journal.
Oh my god, we should establish as well, we're just assuming that everybody's listened to the 2022 wrap-up, because of course they have. We track via Goodreads, and we track via a spreadsheet that Morgan devised, which has various columns, including, did it make you cry? Did it make you put your hand over your mouth in shock? Have you read this author before? Lots of fun metrics.
The month my diss was due,
Yes.
I read 37 books.
Wow, yeah, that is more than 1 a day.
Yeah, clearly I was going through it.
Respect Rick Riordan as the top author.
But Soren, tell me about you.
My top author, you know who my top author was because you saw me losing my mind on Goodreads recently, was Arden Powell. Realistically, because I was trying to fill the hole in my heart due to finishing the Last Binding trilogy. But the Floss Magic books are very good and earned my affection in their own right. I had a good time.
You went crazy.
I did. I just read all of them. They were on Kindle Unlimited. I could just get them, and I did just get them. And I forgot that I had a Kindle Unlimited subscription because we did Six Deaths of the Saint in February. We recorded it, I think. We recorded it ages ago. And then I just never cancelled it. So I was like, I have to recoup my investment. I hate Amazon. So that was what I was doing. Let's not question the logic of it. I think as a result, non-binary authors are overrepresented in the author gender category just because of Arden Powell. So thanks, Arden.
I love that for you.
Let me see that, actually. I'm pretty sure I read the least men.
I gave up on gender. I mean, just in general, but also
in real life as well.
Also in it. I gave up on recording it.
Yeah, I read, well, a couple of them I've put various because there were like more than one author, but it seems like female was first and then non-binary and then male, splitting it into those very arbitrary categories. Because that is the problem, isn't it? Sometimes I'm like, this person uses these pronouns. Why am I assuming that that's their identity? Just because they use whatever pronouns doesn't mean that's how they would self-describe. Maybe they're more than one thing. It's a little bit limiting, but I just want to make sure that I'm not just reading men, which doesn't seem to be a problem, to be fair. So maybe I should just stop tracking this.
But Rick Riordan, for a sec.
Mm-hmm.
I made the foolish decision of going, I think I can reread the entire Percy Jackson verse before the new book comes out. I made this decision in June. There are 26 books in the Percy Jackson verse.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's a lot. Did you?
I almost succeeded. I got stunted by The Sun and the Star because I couldn't find an audiobook of it, and I read some of them in audiobook, and I wasn't used to reading it.
Is that not what you were catching up for?
No, I was catching up for The Trials of the Gods.
Oh, okay.
Which I now haven't read.
Which is set before the Trials of Apollo, so you didn't need to do all of that anyway.
Listen, I hadn't read the Trials of Apollo before, and I really wanted to. So I was like, you know what, I'm just going to go for it. And actually, Trials of Apollo slapped. Magnus Chase slapped even harder. I can't believe I hadn't read them before. I only read the first one. Second and third one. The gender fluid rep, the vibes, incredible. And also just in general, the characters, the dynamics were just so good. But have now finished The Sun and the Star.
Have you still not read the Chalice of the Gods?
No! I needed a break from Percy Jackson at that point, I think. I was done.
You bought it like the day it came out, though, so I'd assume...
I bought it the day it came out. There are 2 copies because I was worried that my copy that I pre-ordered would not have the spreads. But it did. So I have 2 copies now. I need to do something about that.
Should we do our top 10? Last year we talked about our 1 stars. I don't want to do that this year. I just want to be positive.
Yeah. You'll be happy to know that this time I did listen to the assignment, so I didn't do them in order.
Okay, I didn't do them in order either. I did a top 5 and a top 10 because last time I did top 5 and I didn't actually read that many more books this year, but I figured we should match. But you've done a top 15. So that's fine.
Just out me to the listeners. Yeah, I mean, considering ratio-wise,
I think that's fair.
So I wrote down all of the books that I'd rated 5 stars.
Which was?
186.
Oh my god. Okay.
According to my bullet journal, I rated 186. According to my spreadsheet, I rated over 200.
Oh.
There's some things going on. I'm not sure. I do like to change my ratings sometimes, to be fair.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it is. I didn't rate very much this year. I think I only rated things if I got an arc of them and was therefore supposed to. Or if I rated it on the show, obviously. I'm about to be cancelled for lying. Everyone's like, you rate all the time. I just don't really rate on Goodreads.
Yeah. I feel like we've kind of moved on from rating as a thing.
Yeah, I was going to say that going forward into 2024, we're probably not going to rate at the end of these episodes, just because we feel like, you know our opinion if you've listened to us talk about it for like 25 minutes. Or longer. So it's fine.
Halfway through the year, I sort of stopped rating anything below 4 stars. Because I was like, I don't have anything constructive to say on this.
Fair enough.
I'm going to make it good vibes only, I think.
Sometimes I want to review, even though I didn't like something, because I'm like, I have opinions, and I feel like I want to say them. But at the same time, I haven't really written that many reviews this year either, so it is what it is.
Yeah, I really want to try and review everything I read this year, but just at the rate I was reading...
You have to slow down if you're going to do that. You have a choice here.
I don't think there's a way I could physically read more than I read.
Please don't. For your own health.
Yeah.
Please replace some of those books with sleeping. Yep. Wait, okay, do you have a target for this year?
I've put 120 on Goodreads.
Okay, I think that's reasonable.
Because that's 10 a month. Will I surpass that with ease? Yes, but I want to give myself grace for like the second half of the year when I inevitably get off the rails.
Okay.
What about you?
Controversially, I'm not doing one this year, I don't think. I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm stressed about writing projects and I'm kind of prioritizing that in my brain. So I think I'm just not going to put one.
That's so valid.
But last year, okay, how are we doing this? Are we just going to do the back and forth thing again? No particular order?
I think yes. I think that's good.
You go first.
I mean, I have a pseudo order. Like I wrote out all my list and then I was like, these ones definitely. And then
yeah.
So.
But you go first because you have more.
Okay. I mean, I started a lot of series. I finished a lot of series that became instant favorites this year. And the first one I have to talk about is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson, which deserves all the hype it gets. I went into it being like, okay, I've seen it about on TikTok all the time. It's on the library audiobook app. I'll try it. I finished the first book in one day. Finished the second book in a second day. Finished the third book in a third day.
Ooh.
It was boom, boom, boom. It was the only thing I was listening to. It was eating up my entire brain. And it's not fantasy or sci-fi, or it's not even queer.
This is very unusual for you.
I know, but it's just like, the main character is so not like other girls, but like, because she's basically just very autistic coded, and I love her deeply with all my heart, and she's just iconic. For anybody who hasn't read it, it is a thriller about a girl who, there was a murder in her town 5 years ago, and everyone thinks it's solved, but for her EBQ/special project, depending on whether you're reading the UK or the US version, she decides she's going to reinvestigate this murder because she thinks it's not solved.
Mm.
And then she figures out what really happened.
I remember you telling me that it was her EPQ and laughing at it. Quintessentially British.
It's so British. I'm so excited for the TV show. It's one of those books where you're like, okay, is this going to be like a different mystery every time? It's going to get a bit antiquated. And then you get to the third book and you find out things about the first book's mystery that completely reframe the entire mystery. And we did it for our book group. I had COVID at the time, so I couldn't go, which was devastating. My flatmate, who also doesn't usually read, but then when she moved in with me, she suddenly started reading, and like, not to flex, but
your influence.
My influence, yeah. So she also read these 3 books, like one after the other, and then she had to go to the book group and then not say anything because everybody else had only read the first book. It's genuinely like, your brain is on fire, and it's so good. And because it's structured with sort of like found footage stuff, so there's like interviews and stuff like that she's done. For the audiobook, they actually make it like a podcast, and so they have audio footage and they have different actors come in for the different other parts.
That's so cool.
They have like coffee shop noise in the background of some of the interviews. It's so cool. And because in the second book, she actually does a podcast, which really threw me off when she mentioned RSS feeds in the first 5 minutes. And I was like, hang on, that's a word. That's a word I know. It was just so good. And also, it's one of my favourite audiobook narrators, Kristen Atherton, my beloved. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'm not going to say anything, but it rewired my brain.
This is very encouraging. Maybe we need to do like a non-sci-fi fantasy month.
Please, I actually would love you to read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder before the TV show comes out.
When does the TV show come out? Is it next year? This year?
Sometime next year, in theory.
As in 2024?
Yeah, this year, in theory. It'll take me a while to get used to 2024. Oh, it's so good, Soren. It's so good. I've rambled about my favourite. You can tell this is probably my favourite book of the year, to be honest. That's
good to know, though. We got to know your favourite.
Yeah, it's a vibe. Tell me about your first one.
I'm surprising nobody. It's Nona the Ninth. Of course it's Nona the Ninth. Come on. If you don't know, it's the third book in the Locked Tomb series, of which we've done the first 3 on the show. Alecto is possibly my most anticipated 2024. But Nona was gorgeous, and I've said why it's gorgeous, so I won't go on. But it was the first one I wrote down. I wrote it down with several exclamation marks. There was no question in my mind that it would be the first thing I wrote down.
As it should be.
As it should be. What else was on your list?
Another one that was vying for the top spot is another trilogy that I finished. A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I just reread the third book because I couldn't get the other 2 off the library in time. But rewired my entire brain. The magic system is like all desire based, and is all like, if you believe in it, it will happen. So if there are people who don't believe in magic, it will stop happening. If you get drunk, you can believe more things are possible. So like, that's quite a big plot point in book 3. There's language-based magic system parts where, like, the more languages you know, the more magic you can do. The logical progression of things you find out in book 1 versus the things you find out in book 3, and you're like, oh, of course, I'm devastated. I know that you have differing opinions on this.
Yeah, I mean,
series.
for the listeners' benefit, I didn't love book 1. I liked it. I liked the language-based magic system a lot. That was really fun. I'm torn here because I'm kind of like, Morgan, you're tempting me to keep going. But also, I did also DNF Uprooted this year, so I feel like maybe me and Naomi and Novik were not on the same wavelength.
Audiobooking it at a really high speed helps.
I did audiobook the first one at a fairly high speed, though. At a Soren speed, not a Morgan speed.
Because the narrator is very personal in how she narrates.
She is really, really good. I did love that aspect of it.
That's another series I got my flatmate to read, and she like knocked out again in 3 days. Okay, you'll go.
I've put these in as one because we're doing the like one book in a series rule from last year. But Pet and Bitter by Akwaeke Emezi.
I also have that on. Yep.
I mean, they're just so good. Gun to my head, I guess I would pick Pet out of the 2 of those. But I think Emezi is such an amazing writer. And I also read their book, You Made a Fool of Death with Your Beauty, this year, which was like so not the kind of thing I usually read, but their prose was just so good that I enjoyed myself massively anyway. And I think that's a huge testament to their skill as a writer, because age gap, holiday, romance with heavy themes of grief, but also bisexuality.
Okay.
And I was like, well, you're just wordsing so well. They just word so well. What was next on your list?
A Memory Called Empire.
Oh, that nearly made my list. I was thinking about it.
I'm not going to talk too much about it because we are doing an episode on it this year, which will be out
in May.
Eventually.
Sorry.
So I'll give you guys a little bit of a hint that it's a really good book and you should get it.
Yep. And if you read it now, then you'll be ready for the episode. Just saying.
Exactly. It's dark academia in space with sapphics and themes of colonialism and poetry.
Jinx.
What more could you want? Your turn.
This was funny because I re-listened to our 2022 wrap-up earlier today. And in this wrap-up, I said that this would be the next thing that I would read. And then I joked that maybe I would actually read it in 9 months' time. Who knows? And I did read it exactly in 9 months after I said that. Not on purpose, just by coincidence. And that was A Taste of Golden Iron by Alexandra Rowland. And I'm so feral about it. I really want to reread it already, but I've been resisting because I'm trying to read other things. But we will definitely be doing this on the show at some point because I'm...
So you can't say anything about it.
Frothing at the mouth. I can say that it's got economics, and it's got fealty, and it's got homosexuals, and I don't really need to say anything else because that's all you need.
That's pretty good.
It's about the yearning. It is about the obsession. It is about the mental health representation. And to the Last Binding fans of this podcast, but definitely love Taste of Golden Iron. They're shaking hands. What was your next one?
Six Deaths of the Saint by Alex E. Harrow.
That was in my top 10 rather than my top 5. But it made it. It definitely made it.
Yeah. It was one of the first things I read in 2023 and just changed my world, changed my life. I made you read it, Soren. I made most people at work read it. I yelled about it on Twitter for a bit.
We did an episode on the Patreon for those who do not know. So if you do want to hear us dissect it in great detail and talk about second person for half an hour.
Second person, Joan of Arc-esque vibes, female warrior badass, friends-ish to lovers-ish, vaguely tragic. Just literally, what more could you want?
What more could you want? Completely agree. I also had another book that we did on the show, not on the Patreon, and that will not be out yet, is A Power Unbound by Freya Marsk. It had to be on there.
That was in my top 36.
Oh, it got knocked out. You have so many books that I cannot possibly be offended.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just love it. I just love them. I just love the found family. I will never stop thinking about them.
They're so good. Yeah. I want it to be longer. I think that's why it didn't quite make it to my top 15. So I wanted it to be longer.
Yeah. I would like 7 more books, please. Thank you.
Please and thank you.
But we'll talk about that in more detail later.
I'm going to come in with another non-fantasy, non-sci-fi one, which was also a Women's Prize for Fiction long list. So I'm really moving up in my literary fiction.
You're very cultured.
That was The Bandit Queens by Perini Shroff.
Ooh.
And oh my god, I audiobooked this one as well, and it was just so funny. It's about this woman in this small Indian village who's known for having killed her husband because her husband went missing 5 years ago, but she didn't. And then all these different women in the village come to her and go, please help me kill my husband. And it goes more and more out of control.
This sounds amazing.
It's so funny. It's so good. But the main character is so unsocially aware, so autistic coded, and has no idea that all these women want to be friends. She's no one ever invites me to things. I'm really on the outside. And everyone's we've invited you multiple times. What are you talking about? And she just keeps info dumping about bonobos, which she's obsessed with.
I love her already.
And the Bandit Queen, who's this sort of folklore figure. She keeps reframing everything female friendship through the concept of bonobos, how they have family structures. It's female friendship, and it's really darkly funny, and it's so good. Maybe this is the year that I have accepted that I will read things that aren't fantasy and sci-fi.
I'm adding this to my Goodreads as we speak. I
would highly recommend it.
This sounds so
If you can audiobook it, even better.
Oh, okay.
It's so funny. I keep going back to this, but it's really funny. I was trying not to laugh while making my dinner and stuff like this.
That's the best. That's what you want.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that actually. I was thinking that maybe that should be a measure for us for 2024 is did it make us laugh? Because it was A Memory Called Empire, which was making me laugh. And then I was like, this should be a column.
Yeah, I want to add that column because all I've got is crying at the moment.
Yeah, I don't think we should just have crying. I think we should have laughing.
I like that one. I'll add that to the spreadsheet.
New year, new column.
What's for you next?
Another book that we did on the show that was Morgan's recommendation / a guest recommendation, The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches.
Yes.
I just loved it so much. I just had so much fun with it. Whether it was going to be in the top 5 or the top 10 was my battle, if you will. But in the end, I just had to choose it because I was just like, it made me so happy. I just had such a good time. And I feel happy just thinking about reading it. And we have a whole episode on that one too, so I won't go too into detail. But it's there. It's cozy fantasy. I read a lot of cozy fantasy this year.
I feel like we've hit quite well with the things we've done this year.
Yeah, a lot of the reads that I've mentioned and the ones that I'm going to mention were on the show, so that's fun. Even if they're coming out next year. What else did you have?
I'm gonna say volume 20 of The Promised Neverland.
This is the one book in a series rule.
I read it in such quick succession that I'm not sure which books I liked more. India, friend of the show India, recommended me the series. And so I started borrowing them from Libby, as in the library app. But she was on like book 4 and I'd be on book 3 and I'd have to wait until she gave it back before I borrowed the next one. Yeah. And so we were just going like that. And eventually I managed to overtake her because she took a break. And I was like, India, do you mind if I read the next one? And she was like, yeah, go ahead. And so I like banged out like the rest in like the next few days.
That's so funny.
We had a lot of fun. It was a vibe. But I'm going to say volume 20, which is also the only one I read physically because it's the only one that the library doesn't have for some reason. But I did sob my eyes out. And it's so character refuses to lose hope and refuses to compromise their morals, but in like a not annoying way. And just, it's one of those series where like the world building keeps peeling back and you know as much as the characters know. And the characters know nothing. And then they know all the wrong things. And then they know different things. And then other things are revealed. And you're like, how can this keep growing? And then it does. And I can't explain any more because literally the end of book 1 is a spoiler. So
I think I know some of the major spoilers about The Promised Neverland, unfortunately, just from being on the internet too much. But I am very excited to try them. I want to read more manga this year, so maybe that'll be where I start. I read a lot at the beginning of last year, and then I just sort of fell off.
It's so good. Yeah, I feel like the listeners can probably tell that I'm like moving around a lot and emoting as I talk about this series. Tell me, Soren, what's next?
What's next is another Morgan recommendation. There's so many Morgan recommendations on here. Our Wives Under the Sea, which we also did an episode on, so again, I will not go too deep into it.
Did we do that last year?
We did it in 2023, yeah.
Time is actually a lie. Yeah. Jesus Christ.
It was for Moist Month.
Yes. I remember now.
But, you know, we love the sapphics and we love sea horror. That's all I got to say. What was your next one?
The Spirit Bears Its Teeth by Andrew Joseph White. Ooh. I am an Andrew Joseph White enjoyer. I fell in love with Hell Followed With Us and have been obsessed ever since. This book was just so visceral. Rage, but also hope, but also the main character is so messed up and I love him so much. If you want Victorian spooky ghosts, mediums, but also autistic trans man who's obsessed with like surgery and thinks about everything through those terms, but then is also stuck in a women-only boarding school for people who are messing around with the veil and are supposedly getting sick from it because, you know, #hysteria or whatever, but then discovers that girls are being murdered at this school and has to investigate. It's got T for T romance. It's got like queer solidarity. It's just so good. Like it's so like, how is this allowed to be a YA book? But it's also so good. Okay,
I'll think about that going in after Hell Followed With Us.
If you struggle with gore,
yeah, I'm worried about that. But you know, I think it'll be worth it.
You know, main character is doing an abortion in a bathtub at 2 a.m. for 2,000 words.
Okay, I will be aware of that.
Just to warn you.
I'm warned. Consider me warned.
But it's good if you can get past that.
Yet another Morgan recommendation. Daughters of Sparta by Claire Hayward.
Really?
Yeah, I really loved it. It was just such good character writing, and I loved the prose and the fact that it was just centered around these women from myths, and I just think it did a great job of showing it through their eyes. And that's yet another one that we have an episode on. So go watch it. No, don't. Go listen to it. You can watch it if you like, but you won't see very much. Go listen to it if you want.
That makes me so happy. I'm always worried that I'm like missing the mark with my rec.
No, you hit the mark so many times.
I just get so excited that I'm like, everybody will love this. And then that's good to know.
Like half of these are your recommendations.
Yes.
Nona, Very Secret Society of Regular Witches, Our Wives Under the Sea, Daughters of Sparta, and The Sixth Death of the Saint. So that's 5 of my top 10.
This show is doing its job, clearly.
Yeah, exactly. What about you?
To reciprocate, I'm going to go with Hooky for my next one.
Hey, I figured this would be on the list somewhere.
Yeah. It was just so cute. I'm not going to say any more because we do an episode on it.
Exactly. That was our most recent episode. Go back one.
If you love like cozy fantasy, witches, but also prophecy about the chosen evil one, and also a little bit of found family, and also aren't you tired of being nice? And it's also just beautiful in general.
Oh, the last 2 that I've left are both non-sci-fi and fantasy ones.
Oh, tell me.
The first one, I believe you have read, Yellowface by R.F. Kuang.
Yes. So good.
I don't remember that much about it because I kind of read it in a fugue state. I read it really, really fast. But I had a great time. So I feel like I have to include it.
It's on my top 36.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah, I read it so fast because I audiobooked it, which is a whole experience considering it's supposed to be like this first person, very biased narration. But when you're audiobooking it, you're like so much more in her brain that you're like, I feel like the world is a lie.
Yeah.
It's
yeah, I just love the way that she did that unreality, slipping into this like paranoid state. It was very good. It was almost empathizing with her, even though you really didn't like her.
Yeah, I think that's why I couldn't put it anywhere near my top 15 is because it just made me so uncomfortable to read.
Yeah, ironically.
Like it was so good, but...
Yeah, I think that's why I didn't make it into my top 5, because I was like, all of the top 5, I look at them and I'm like, oh my god, that just makes me happy even reading the name, and I can't wait to read it again. That said, Pet did make it in there, so, that one was also harrowing. What else have you got?
This is a weird one, because it feels like this has been part of my life for so long, because I recommend it all the time, even though I only read the first 4 books for the first time this year, and that is All Systems Red / The Murderbot Diaries by Martha Wells, which I had never read before 2023, and now I reread the first 4 books twice. I'm not going to say too much because I really want to do it on the show at some point because it just has rewired my brain.
I really want to read it. Oh, okay.
So much casual rep, so much main character is just... I love it so much. Awkward robot.
The specific reason that I've wanted to read it for ages is because I follow a fan artist on Tumblr who draws a lot of Murderbot fan art, and it just looks so good. They've compelled me.
Awkward robot gains sentience, wants to watch TV. I relate on a visceral level. What was the last one?
The final one that made it into my top 10. The Perfect Crimes of Mariam Hayes by Cat Sebastian.
Oh, yes.
I had a lot of fun with this one. I really liked both of the main characters. I really liked the discussions about bodily autonomy and consent. It just brought a new dimension to that I feel a lot of romance could benefit from. I feel like I'm accidentally slagging off Bridgerton without really meaning to. But you can write historical fiction and ground it in the setting and still have the characters treat each other with respect. Not that you can't write problematic characters, you can, but when you're framing them as if they're the paragon of romance, then it's a little bit... doesn't feel so great. Whereas these two, they just care about each other so much. I just love bisexuals and love. They were so cute. I had such a good time. I liked it even more than the first one, which I liked a lot.
I've heard a lot about these from you, so I feel like I need to jump on that.
They're very fun. They don't have any fantasy elements, sadly. And I know you're not a historical fiction person, but I think you would like them, even just for the disability rap and the queer vibes.
I feel like I could do it.
Okay, you've got 5 more for us, so...
Okay, I'm going to bang that super fast.
Gotta go.
What have I not said? The Last Tale of the Flower Bride by Roshani Chokshi.
Oh, yes.
Such vibes, such weirdness, such gothic, incredible vibes. Vespertine by Margaret Rogerson. The setting, the cool vibes, the friendship, the 2 main characters teaching each other how to cope with their anxieties, but also kind of hating each other and having to go on a quest because they're stuck in the same body. Beautiful. Sword Heart by T. Kingfisher. This is the year that I admit that I do read a fair amount of romantasy. I was trying to blame it on my coworker Libby and being like, all the romance in my Goodreads Wrapped is your fault, but it's not. I do just sometimes, if it's well written, enjoy a romantasy. And this is just a cute little sentient sword man ex-widow who are going on a little quest with a non-binary priest to try and sort out an inheritance issue. Incredible vibes. Would recommend the audiobook if you can get it. It is currently free on Audible, but it is being traditionally published in like 2025, so run while you have the chance. Die I've specifically listed volume 2, but all 4 volumes. We have an episode on it, so I'm not going to go into any more detail. I feel like I've miscounted somewhere.
No, because we had some of the same ones, and then we
had overlap.
Yeah, that was why.
So the last one, which should not be last, but I love it dearly. But I'm not going to go into it too much because, again, we're probably going to do it on the show because Soren needs to read it.
Okay.
Is Dragonfall by L.R. Lamb.
I want to read this so bad.
Which is another one of the, okay, I'm a romantasy reader, I guess.
I was re-listening to our disabled sci-fi and fantasy episode earlier today as well, because I was on the train and I was re-listening to our 2022 wrap-up, and then it finished, and I couldn't move, and it randomly autoplayed that one. But you talk about Dragonfall there too, and it made me really want to read it. So I've been thinking about that as recently as like 2 hours ago. How bad I want to read Dragonfall. We got to do a dragon theme. It's going to happen. Hopefully in 2024.
Can I do like a really quick fire list of all of like my honourable mentions? I'll be so fast. Go. I promise. Okay. Princess Floralinda and the Floaty Flight Tower by Tamsin Ware. Eyes, Guts, Throat, Bones by Moira Fowley Doyle. A Power Unbound. Cruel Seduction by Katie Robert. The Ship of the Dead by Rick Riordan. Queen of Coin and Whispers by Helen Corcoran. Spirits Abroad by Zen Cho. Yellowface. In the Shadow of the Wolf Queen by Kieran Millward Hargrave. 11th Hour by the McElroys. Kingdom of the Sea by Zora Narby. Please Return to the Lands of Luxury by John Tilton. All Our Hidden Gifts by Caroline Donahue. The Elemental Detectives by Patrice Lawrence. Salt Slow by Julia Armfield. And The Mimicking of Known Successes by Malka Alder. Tamsin Ware, like I was re-listening to our 2022 Wrapped, and I read 8 of her books, despite the fact that she only had like 3 published at the time.
Yeah.
This year I read 10 of her books, despite the fact that she's only got like 5 published at the moment. And one of them is Princess Floralinda and the Floaty Flight Tower, which is incredible. It's a 4-hour audiobook. It doesn't exist anywhere except on Audible. If you listen to my Trial Anthology Season 3 episode, I wasn't thinking about it at the time, but if I look back, I probably was.
Her influence
is unmatched.
Somewhat on the subject of Tamsin Ware. Mm-hmm. What are your anticipated reads for 2024?
Well, my anticipated read for 2023 was Electo the Ninth.
Yes.
By Tamsin Ware. My anticipated read for 2024 is also Electo the Ninth.
It's also at the top of my list.
Ware. When will it come out? It doesn't even have a release date. It doesn't even have a cover.
We're manifesting it by saying it on the show. It'll come out this year.
Yes. Tamsin, take your time.
Your mental health is important as well.
I understand it has to be really well done because of how you're going to pull off the series in a single book. I really don't know. But
please. I don't want to be... I've never done this. I've never gotten stuck in a book series and that hasn't finished. I've just been very lucky. It hasn't happened to me. I've never been that guy, and I don't want to be that guy with this. This is the best thing. Do you have any other...
I do. I mean, we're reading Sunbringer by Hannah Kaner at the moment, the second God Killer.
You're right. I forgot to put it on the list because in my brain it's already out because I have it. And I'm reading it right now.
Yes. No, I'm very excited for that.
Yes.
But I will say no more because, again, episode, and again, it's not out yet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I have one that I think... It doesn't have a cover yet, even, I don't think. But that's not Goodreads. But I'm pretty confident that we will both love it. And it does have a date, which is September. I Shall Never Fall in Love by Harry Connor.
Yes.
Their next graphic novel, which I believe is T4T historical romance, which I'm very excited about, because what more could I personally want, especially if it's by Harry Connor. So I'm screaming. I can't wait. I will be buying that physically because it will be published traditionally.
I've got lots of like random ones that I either have proofs of or I'm just very excited for in general that I see about everywhere. But I have to start with The Principle of Moments by Esme Jackimi Pearson, because I have been hearing about this book since I knew Esme at uni. So I have been waiting for this book longer than anybody has known that it was going to be published. Esme's the person who lent me Gideon the Ninth the first time I ever read it.
Thank you, Esme, for your service.
Yeah. Truly shaped me in a fundamental way.
Shaped this podcast.
Truly. And just this book sounds amazing. It's like Doctor Who meets Gideon the Ninth, meets Long Way to Smuggler Planet, meets Star Wars, meets Regency romance. It's about a girl who is like an Amazon worker in the 65th century. But then like her sister is kidnapped and she has to go and find her. But then there's also this second protagonist is a time traveler who's currently having a Regency romance with his boyfriend. And I don't know how those two stories interact yet, but I know there's a prophecy. I know that it's very much about like storyness and stuff. I know that the first chapter is the end. Is that like it's called The End?
What? This sounds incredible.
Yeah, it comes out on my birthday, 18th of January. So it'll be out like 3 days after this episode. Pre-order it. Go buy it. Esme's an amazing writer. Amazing person. Go. The cover is also beautiful. But yes, I'll calm down now.
Never. Well, on the subject of never calming down, a book that I've not been able to shut up about in Morgan's vicinity is the Pride and Prejudice retelling by Gabe Colnavoa, Most Ardently, who I still haven't read anything. I mentioned a Gabe Colnavoa book coming out last year on the last Wrapped, and then I didn't read it, so I should really pick up some Gabe Colnavoa. But I really like Pride and Prejudice. It's even better to me if Lizzie Bennet is a trans man, so I'm just very excited that this just like is very specifically catered for me, and the cover is so beautiful. I love it. So I'll have to buy that as well, because I need to have it in my hands.
There's just so many books coming out.
There's a lot.
Yeah. Oh, there's just so many bangers. I'm mainly trying to stick with authors I already know, just because there are so many new authors.
Catch me having like the rest of mine authors I don't know, but I'm just excited.
I will go searching for those, but mainly I'm going to be trying to read my physical TBR this year. And I know I said that last year, but this year I have a lot less money. So I will be actually reading the books on my physical TBR this year. So
got to make a jar, got to do a challenge.
But I do have to, of course, hype up the new Leigh Bardugo book that's coming out this year, The Familiar.
Yeah.
Which is a historical fantasy set at some point. The Spanish Golden Age, it says.
Oh, The Voyage of the Down by Frances White.
Yes. Oh my God.
Which has been comped to Fruits Basket, which is such a specific comp that it means that legally I have to read it. Sure, I'm not usually like a locked room mysteries. I say that as if we haven't been hyping up Gideon the Ninth for like half of this episode. Usually. I don't know about boats and mysteries, but that comp specifically. And apparently it has loads and loads of queer rep, including like, I think there's an ace character and a non-binary character. And I know that there's a chronically ill character. There's a wheelchair user. I'm very excited about all of that. That sounds fun.
I have to mention another book that we were hyped for in 2023 that is now a 2024 hype is Heavenly Tyrant by Zoranjay Zhao.
Yes. Oh, I completely forgot. Yeah, absolutely. Very hyped for that. That's actually coming out this year.
April 30th. I'm so excited. I need to reread the first book because it's been like 3 years since I read it now.
What else have I got on here? So Let Them Burn by Kamala Cole.
I see that everywhere. It looks so good.
It looks so good. I love dragons. I love lesbians. What else does one need? I've also got on here The Absinthe Underground by Jamie Paxton, which is also sapphic, 20s fantasy. The cover has ensnared me. It's so pretty. I really like the Art Deco vibe.
A good cover.
Some good friends to lovers. It just sounds fun. There's fae in it, but I feel I trust queer people to do fae more than I trust straight people to do fae. Also, it's being described as Moulin Rouge meets Holly Black, and I am a Moulin Rouge lover. So,
okay, I have not consumed Moulin Rouge, unfortunately.
Oh my god, have you not? We need to watch Moulin Rouge, Morgan.
I'm sorry.
The romance. They invented romance. They didn't. They're toxic.
I'm gonna watch 52 movies this year.
Okay, that has to be one of them. I will join you on Zoom or something, please.
Okay.
I can't believe you haven't seen Moulin Rouge. This is horrifying.
Considering that we were talking so much about Very Secret Society, I feel like we have to mention A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana.
How did I forget about that? When is that coming out?
April 2nd.
Oh my god,
according
that's
to
quite
Goodreads.
soon.
Goodreads could be lying.
You know, I'm just going to believe it for my own sanity.
April is like a heavy month because April we've got The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo, we've got the reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson, Heavenly Tyrant by Zoranjay Zhao, A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana, Song of the Six Realms by Judy Eileen, the sequel to Silver Under Nightfall by Rinji Pecco.
Oh god, I have to hurry up and read Silver Under Nightfall.
A new F.T. Lukens book, the final book in the Twin Crowns trilogy, Darker by Four by June C.L. Tan, Deep as the Fen by Lily Wilkinson, which is a sequel to one book I read in December called A Hunger of Thorns, which I really enjoyed. Yeah, April's crazy.
April's wild. I have to take off April from work now.
To Gaze Upon Wicked Gods comes out in April as well.
This is simply so many books.
It's too many books.
I didn't read like any of what I intended to read last year, I feel like, and there's so many more books. What?
I feel like we should make a list of books we're going to read by the end of this year.
What are our reading goals? Do you want to read more graphic novels, more fiction, more poetry?
I'd like to read less audiobooks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because for context, listener, I read 211 audiobooks.
So the majority were...
I read a lot of audiobooks, whereas I read, apparently, 102 physical, which is still a lot.
Do you not have ebooks in there?
I have ebooks in there as well, yeah.
Oh, wow. I read 44 ebooks.
That's a lot.
That's a
this
lot.
This is a lot more than I thought it was going to be.
That's way more than I thought it was going to be. 20 paperbacks. And actually, 45 really, because I just put one as a webcomic, which is an ebook, really. Come on. It's just a graphic novel on your phone. I can't believe I've read so much on my phone. Only 12 audiobooks, though. That's low. That's one a month.
That's crazy. Yeah, I'd like to reduce the number of audiobooks I read, and I'd like to get back into podcasts. I write a podcast. I need to consume podcasts, and I haven't really done that in the last year. I also am on committee for my university's podcast society, and it's getting to a point where all the podcasts we're recommending, we're just recommending the same things over and over again each year.
Well, Morgan, if you want some podcast recommendations,
I will go onto the Attic Twitter and I will follow the Audio Drama Sunday tag.
Exactly. Or you can talk to me if you want, and then I can come up with something specific.
We'll see that.
You know me, remember?
I need to get back into audio drama.
And if you, listener, are curious about audio drama, we are currently doing the Bright Sessions podcasts on our Patreon, and we're having a lot of fun.
Yes.
I think conversely, I want to read more audiobooks because I've had a really bad habit of just scrolling through my phone before bed. And I know that I fall asleep quicker if I just listen to 50 minutes of an audiobook. And 50 minutes of an audiobook a day, especially a little bit sped up, is not nothing. I've blocked all of my social media off at a certain time now. We're at that point of our lives. My audiobook apps are enabled, so hopefully I will be forced. The problem is you can always just say no and override it, and I'm not very good at telling myself to, Sometimes it's okay. I've only been doing this for like 4 days, so we'll see how it goes.
I'd like to review all the books that I read that are 5 or 4 stars, which I'm doing well so far. I've read 2 books so far this year, guys. All of them were just books that I finished on like January 1st, but still. And I've reviewed them both already, so. I
would like to read books set in places that aren't America and England or a fantasy setting. The majority of books that I read were not set anywhere in real life. And then actually, to be fair, I have more books in Japan than in the UK, but that's probably also partially because I read a fair amount of manga. The last book of the year that I read was set in China, and that was really fun. I read something set in Mallorca at the beginning of the year, which I did not love the book, but I really enjoyed it being in a place that was familiar to me, but that I hadn't seen in fiction a lot. I would like to keep doing that.
I would like to read an N.K. Jemisin book this year.
Same. Literally. Okay, I was going to do, you know that TikTok thing where people were doing 10 before the end? I was really late on that, so I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do 5 before the year dies. One of her books was going to be on there, and I did not even have time to make the TikTok, let alone read 5 books. But I feel like she's at the top of my list for this year.
Yeah, I have the 5th season just staring at me from my bookcase right now, and that's why I came up with that.
Ursula Le Guin. I need to get to some Ursula Le Guin. I have multiple Ursula Le Guin books, and I've never read any of her books. That's terrible.
I feel so bad because I was doing a fantasy book group with some of my co-workers, and we did Lies We Sing to the Sea by Sarah Underwood as our first book. Because we were doing an event, and it was like, that's great, cool. We all met up in the pub and chatted about it, and we were like, cool, our second book is going to be the first book in the Earthsea books. So we all bought it, and only India has read it.
Only
India. And that was in May.
Gotta get on it. And then you can watch the film together.
I did not know there was a film.
It's a Ghibli film. Apparently it's completely different. And Ursula liked it. She was like, this is completely different, but I do like it. So.
Okay. I would like to finish some series. Because I am good at finding new authors now. I've accepted this. I'm great at that.
How many books that you read this year were new authors? I'm curious.
148.
Oh my god. Well, I can't compete with that because that's more books than I read. Let's see. 50 of mine were new and 35 weren't.
But yeah, I'd like to finish some of the series I owned. For example, I own the entire Ancillary Justice series by Anne Leckie. Have not read a single book by this author. I own, again, all of the Fruits Baskets up to like however far Collector's Edition 5 goes.
I'm begging you.
I would like to finish that. Do I remember what happened in the first 2? No.
I will buddy read them with you.
I'm now reading Full Metal Alchemist.
Yes, I saw that today. I got so excited.
Yeah, there's so many volumes.
How are you finding it?
I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm reading it because I've been told that I should read it for ages, but also I'm writing an essay at the moment for uni on how magic systems fuel plots. And I was like, people give me ideas. And somebody in my class was like, you should read Full Metal Alchemist. And I was like, okay.
I said Full Metal Alchemist too as well when you were saying this. I was like, Full Metal Alchemist.
So, yes. So, will it actually make it into the essay, considering the essay is due in 5 days? And I haven't started it. We'll see. I've read the first 3 volumes of Full Metal Alchemist, and I enjoyed them a lot. A lot of good themes that I enjoy. So we shall see. But yeah, I would like to finish the books I own. I would like my number to not grow so much.
if it grows.
You know, last year's episode, I was like, oh yeah, I think my physical TBR is on 350. I'm going to like get it down.
Yeah.
Listener, my physical TBR is currently at 512.
You see, this makes more sense when you admit that you read 200 audiobooks. I know some of them you also own, but...
All of the books I own are my audiobook trophies, most of the time.
Yeah.
Like a fair amount of the books I own are audiobook trophies.
Fair.
But consider the fact that I read 368 books, and yet my TBR increased by 150 books.
Yeah.
I don't understand the maths. And yes, I receive a fair amount from the publishers because of my job. But
Morgan, I think you actually have to go on a book buying ban.
no, I think I do. I have found recently I've been walking around bookshops and being like, I own all of these. So I have a great library to pick from at home now, guys.
Everything you're interested in, you already own, and therefore it's fine.
Yeah, so it's going to be fine. And I'm going to tackle that TBR, and that's the ever-increasing lie. But also, I'm not shamed for my TBR.
No, I don't think you should
be.
be.
I'm not ashamed of it. Like, I know a lot of people are like, wow, consumerism much on TikTok. And I'm like, you know what?
No,
I had the money. I enjoy it. And honestly, I would rather live on bean and buy books.
You see, this is what I'm concerned about. But I don't think that there's anything wrong with buying. But, you know, you could also, you know, go blow all of your money on a night out or on a plane ticket or whatever. This is just what you choose to spend it on. That's up to you.
I don't go out. I don't do really anything. I just buy books.
You can do whatever you want forever.
I want to buy books.
Oh, I have another question about your reading habits this year. You said that you were going to theme your months. Did you do that, or did you just mood read?
I did that for the first 2 months,
okay.
And nothing happened. I did not read a single book on the physical TBR.
That's understandable. When people are like, "Oh, here's my TBR for the month," I'm like, I wish I was you. I could never be you. I'm just going to read whatever.
Yeah. I'm such a mood reader, so this is an issue. But I do want to make like mini TBRs of like, I'd like to get to these if I have a chance. And I think I'm going to focus on new releases and like books that I've received from publishers, because the ARC's shelf is getting out of hand at this point. And I'd like to try and read them before they come out so that I can review them before they come out, rather than reviewing them like 3 months after they come out.
I've still got ARCs from when I worked at a bookshop. For reader reference, I quit in 2021. Listen, I keep calling you guys readers. I don't know what... I mean, you are readers, but you're not reading this, unless you're reading the transcript.
They're bookworms.
Bookworms. The other question was, you DNF'd a few books last year, which you had never done in your life before. Did you DNF anything?
Yes.
We don't have to go into detail, because I want this to be like a positive vibe, but did you actually DNF something this year?
I did DNF at least one thing this year.
Okay. Because you know I DNF'd some things, because I had things that I was still technically reading at the end of last year that I only gave up on like a month ago.
The one thing I will say I did DNF on this podcast, and I will rant about it for a second, I DNF'd Heretics of June by Frank Herbert. It is the 5th June book. I got that far in. I was audiobooking them, and I just couldn't do it anymore. I was pushing so hard. First book, very good world building, questionable characters. Then book 2, you're like, okay, we're seeing the aftermath. It's been a long time. I don't necessarily agree that this is where any of the characters would have gone, but sure, whatever. Book 3, actually quite interesting because it's about his kids. A lot of like new stuff you're learning. Book 4 is, would you still love me if I was a worm? And the answer is no.
But not in a good
I would
way.
not. You're a genocidal dictator. And then book 5 is, oh my god, this man climbed a mountain, and when he got to the top of the mountain, I had an orgasm because he was just so masculine.
Oh my god, I remember you telling me this.
Literally, shoot me. I'd rather be shot. Like,
I'm very happy that you DNF'd. That was important for your health.
what? And also just like, I know the author is homophobic, and I know that he writes his homophobic views into it. The way that he does it, like in book 1, you're like, oh, this is a homophobic stereotype for this one character. Fine. In book 4 or 5, it's like, oh yes, men should never be allowed to be soldiers because at war, men are more likely to have homosexual relationships, and that makes them violent, so they don't consider fatalities. What?
Yeah. That's such a take. It kind of circles back around to being funny because it's just so wild, but also...
Yeah, one of the main characters who is like the OG, we love him a lot, he sees 2 women making out and has like a breakdown and is like, this is disgusting, it's horrifying, and then everybody else is like, that's just what women do. Like, what? Your entire world is built in a very particular way. Your own views being inside, like, they don't make sense into the world that you've built them into. The world building and the personal beliefs just don't gel in any way, shape, or form. I'm scarred for life.
I'm so sorry. Okay, we've been going for an hour and 20. I think we should ask the final question.
What's the final question?
What are you reading next?
Oh, no. I mean, I'm going to read The Principle of Moments, I think, next. I really want to start that one next. That's the theory, at least.
I did buy The Haunting Season for myself like 2 years ago, thinking it would be like a good Christmas spooky read, and now we've passed, so maybe I'll try and get to that before the winter is over, so that it's still thematically appropriate. But also now I have to read Silver Under Nightfall before the next one comes out.
Yes, you do. You have to read it first. I can't read it before you read it, Soren.
Why not?
You've been going on about this book for ages. This is the Castlevania Poly AU that you've always wanted.
I'm just a trophy card shipper. That's all I am. I'm not a human.
Read it so that I can read it. If you read it, I'll watch Castlevania.
Well, I will take you up on that. You should watch Castlevania. You can handle gore more than I can. You'll be fine with Castlevania.
Oh, yeah.
You'll like it. Marie Brennan's A Natural History of Dragons.
Yes.
I discovered is free on Kindle Unlimited right now. So that's also up there now, sort of. So I've just named like 6 things, so I should shut up now, because that's not the rules. I should just pick one.
Pick one. You got to commit. I feel like mine was an easy commit. Like, it's the logical next step. So I'm also going to pick another one that's like, I'm going to hold myself to read it by the end of the next year.
Silver Under Nightfall. I want to be in my vampire era. It was supposed to be a Halloween read. It's not Halloween. I bought Dracula at the same time I was going to go into an era. It hasn't happened. It's going to happen now.
It's Halloween all year, if you try hard enough.
Exactly. What's your other one?
I'm going to say Cage of God by Elizabeth May.
Ooh. I don't think I've heard of this.
Oh, I'm very excited to read it. It comes out in February, and it looks really good. It's sort of Slavic folklore. I found out that one of the main characters is Sapphic, and that's motivated me even more. And it's about these 2 sisters whose mother grafted gods onto their bones to try and win the war.
Obsessed. Okay, that sounds so good.
Yeah. So I think that is my next one after Sunbringer. What else do we have to say? Anything to say? How many books did you cry at, Soren?
I thought it was 2, because I had 2 ticked, and then I realised that it's pet twice. So, I'm amazed Nona didn't make me cry, but I think I was just too in shock at the end to cry, so yeah. How about you? How many?
I cried at less books, considering that I read...
More.
I cried at 59 books. I think it might be the audiobook thing, to be honest. On some books, it subsumes me more, and on some books, it subsumes me less.
Yeah.
I have photos of some of the ones I actually did cry at, like Promised Neverland Volume 20. I have a photo of me just in floods. Lies We Sing to the Sea.
Ooh.
I was in the bath. I did have way more things that I gasped, I think, though. I had 124 hand over mouth.
I didn't have that many gasps this year. This was kind of making me sad. How many books did you reread?
58 rereads, which, considering I read 40 rereads last year, like, categorically, that's way more new books.
Yeah, that's more new books in total. Yeah, that's a lot, though.
Going crazy this year.
I reread 7
What was I on?
things.
7 is good. That's a lot of new books.
How many of them were because of the podcast? Is it just going to be all of them? I reread Nimona for the vibes because the film came out.
I went through a reread phase in December because I was like, I want to like remember some of the books I really liked during this year. Like, did they hit really good just because I was reading them for the first time, or did they hit again on a second read?
Yeah.
And all of them hit again on a second read. And also, of course, rereading Percy Jackson and Heroes of Olympus and Kane Chronicles. And that definitely upped my reread numbers a fair amount.
The final question, how many were queer in some fashion? And I'll say for people who are like, how do you define it? I don't know, we just decide.
It's vibes-based entirely.
I'll take non-fiction as queer if it's queer, but that's also kind of up to vibes. Like, how queer is it? It's queer enough that I say it's queer.
I say yes if it had any queer characters in it, and then I specify what kind it had, and I'll usually be like, background suffix or something like that.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
There are a few blanks on this spreadsheet, because I'm going to be honest, guys, I was not keeping up to date with it in any way, shape or form.
Give us an estimate.
According to this, bear in mind there are some missing. I have 193 yeses.
Wow.
137 no's, 9 where it was just the author is queer, but the narrative itself was not. 6 that were kinda, and 2 that were question marks, and 1 that says unfortunately. And that's June.
I just have a tick box, so I've 63 were yes and 23 were no.
We're doing well.
We're doing well.
I definitely had more queerness than I did last year, because I had that weird spell where I just was reading straight books for a month, and I couldn't get out of it, and I didn't know why I was there.
Yeah, my straight books are pretty few and far between, and then I have like random runs of them.
I have one note that just goes, if I recall correctly, yes. Helpful.
You know?
Thanks, past Morgan.
That's another thing I want to do, because last year there's like the thought section at the very end. I would type my vibes like the minute I finished, and I was just not doing that this year. So I've written stuff, but I've read it like afterwards, so a lot of them are just like sweet and interesting. That was bad, I fear. That's what one of them says. Was okay underneath that. I'm proud to be a man on a day like today. That was about Oh, being a transgender man. There's just a lot that just don't really make any sense.
I love those. I love this.
I've got mid, full stop.
I think you should do a slideshow.
Girl, full stop, irrevocably changed. What was that? No, the ninth. Okay. Yeah. That makes sense.
That makes sense.
Yeah, you know what? I will. That will be like a TikTok that I make. Now, before we go, we did want to say in 2024, we're slowing down so that I don't die. That's basically what's happening. We're slowing down because we have other projects that we want to focus on, in short. But the Hidden Bookcase is not going anywhere. It's just that editing is really time consuming. I would read a book on here a week if I could. I would love to. I want to talk to Morgan about every book in the world, but sadly, time is finite. And it's very sad.
Soren needs to sleep.
Yeah.
Everyone should go support the Patreon so that Soren can sleep.
Thanks, please.
Please. As a birthday gift to me, everybody go support the Patreon so that Soren can sleep.
You can go to sleep eventually. It's fine, I'll go to sleep eventually. So I am going to sleep, and we're taking episodes down to once per month. But not this month, because we promised 2 episodes this month. The episode that is coming out in 2 weeks' time is The Bright Sessions, seasons 1 and 2 of The Bright Sessions, which is not a book. Shocking. Horrifying.
God.
It's an audio drama. It is about people with powers, but rather than saving the world, they're just going to therapy. Or are they? They're trying to, anyway.
They're certainly trying.
They are certainly trying, and they're not having a good time, and we love them all. And this podcast formed our brains as teenagers.
Yep.
We were neuroplastic.
And we've mentioned it a lot on the show.
We've mentioned it like 1 million times on the show. So that's from our Patreon feed. So we're just releasing it to the world. And then if you are like, wow, I want to hear the rest of this, then this month also season 3 and 4 of The Bright Sessions will be out on the Patreon feed. So you can go listen to those.
And then we'll be doing the spin-offs, and we'll be doing everything.
And then we're doing the AM archives, and then we're doing the college tapes. We don't need to talk about what themes we're doing, I suppose. But what I will say is that we are theming by season. So if you are a listener of ours, you will know that we do spring has 3 months in it, our spring reading term, if you will. And then each month has a different theme. We're just doing a spring theme because we're only doing a book a month. So that seemed logical to us. I hope it seems logical to you. Thank you for joining us for 2023.
Yeah. This is chaos, and we love you all.
And if you want to talk to us about the books that you enjoyed in 2023 or what you are reading in 2024, you should come join our Discord because we want to chat with you about your books. You know about all our books now, but we don't know about your books.
Yeah, there is one person on the Discord I'm having very good conversations with about the Final Strife series by Sarah El Arifi. Come join us for that.
We'll see you in 2 weeks for the Bright Sessions.
Until then, you're always welcome to the Bookcase.
Don't forget to scritch the cat on your way out into 2024.
Whoa!